didn't even get drafted in round 1. He's become a superstar. And, going back, John Starks, Mace, rest in peace. A lot of those Knicks, not even drafted. Unlikely ascensions to unlikely spots. And I think that certainly fits with our next guest. Maybe he processed it differently along the way, but we love his story, and we like him as a player. That is Isaiah Hodgins, who has been bestowed with a contract by the Giants. That was a given. He played very well, and he's with us here on the show. Isaiah, it's Tiki and Tierney. How you doing today, buddy?
What's up, man? I'm good. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Oh, no, we're excited to have you on. You didn't even mention Victor Cruz, who was one of the Giants' own. It was the same situation.
Wayne Corbett.
Yeah. Isaiah, your journey is it's pretty amazing when you think about it. From getting drafted by Buffalo in the 6th round, for those that don't know, I'll recount a little bit of it. And then you're there for a year, you get waived, you get brought back, you practice squad, you get signed a futures contract, and you get waived again, and then the Giants pick you up. And when you get picked up by the Giants, nobody expected you to go and contribute. Yet when the season was said and done, you led the team in receiving touchdowns. Right? Tell us about this journey and why you felt so comfortable immediately, it felt like, once you got a chance to play with Daniel Jones in this Giants offense.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a long journey, kind of as you mentioned. Just looking back on just some of that stuff, man, and just like listening to those stories, it's just kind of crazy to see how far I've come. But I mean, it was definitely just like, a journey that I've had to persevere through and just really be patient through. But, I've had a lot of people who were there to help mentor me just along the way and kind of keep me patient and keep me working hard the whole time. My dad used to play in the NFL, so, he used to say, hey, like, man, like, when you're on practice squad over there in Buffalo, like, use that as an opportunity. Like, you're going against Tre'Davious White and Jordan Poyer and all these people, like, every single day, like, giving them a look, like, those are going to be people who you're going to be playing against one day, like, in a game, and, corners as good as them and stuff like that. So, like, people like him, Stephon Diggs, and just Emmanuel Sanders, just all these, like, household names, Cole Beasley, I was able to learn from and really, get comfortable with and, like, learn how to really run routes and model my game after. And, obviously I was in Buffalo with Daboll for 2 years, so I was familiar with the offense. So the second I came over here and he gave me an opportunity, he kind of told me what it was and was like, hey, like, I'm not going to give you a spot. Like, obviously, like, you're going to have to go out there and earn it. But, the more catches you make and more plays you make, the more opportunities you'll get. And, that's kind of why I love Daboll, because, he's going to tell you when you're doing good and tell you when you're doing bad. And he's just kind of a real person. And, I felt like it was just easy to come in there with, the offensive system with Daniel Jones, who's just a hard worker and just, able to get going right away.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that about your dad. Your dad was here with the Jets in 2006, and so also won a Super Bowl with the Rams as a fullback. So, I mean, you got it in your blood a little bit. And you mentioned Daboll, and I think he's such an important part of this because he does keep it real. I know this because I've met him and I know a little bit, but we talk about it all the time. But to hear it from a player – I mean, tell us how he coaches, or really, it's probably not even coaching. It's really like indoctrinating you into a family, into the culture. How is he?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit it on the head. He's just real, like, and I think a lot of times, in this league, and I'm sure, like Tiki and everyone can kind of like attest to this, sometimes there's a lot of like politics that go on, or a lot of like, oh, the coach told me this, but this is something different happening behind closed doors. But, with Daboll, that doesn't really happen. Like, he's going to tell you, like, why you're not playing or why you're not doing good, and, what he thinks you could do better. But he's also, when you're doing great, he's going to tell you that, and he's going to tell you to keep going and tell you stuff to improve on and tell you how he sees you in the future. And, I just think that's something that a lot of players respect, because it's not something that you get a lot in this league.
That's awesome. So that's Isaiah Hodgins. Giants doing maybe one of the easiest things they'll have to do this offseason, picking up the contract. The young man's earned every penny, had a really good showing with the G-Men, which is awesome. So, Isaiah, I want to know, like, when you first come into the building, and again, familiarity with Daboll clearly, and even I'm sure Shane to an extent, but the Giants' personality developed as the year went on. Can you speak to what you perceived them to be when you first arrived into the playoffs, specifically the great game against Minnesota? Like, how did things change? How fast did that winning culture start to stick?
Yeah, I mean, so we always used to watch the Giants when we were in Buffalo, actually. We would always talk about Daniel Jones and Barkley, and especially when Daboll got there, because, we all love Daboll. So we were kind of keeping a close eye on them, and it was kind of one of those things that, like, I feel like the whole world was kind of like trying to figure out, like, they started real fast, but everyone was like, are they for real? Like, we don't really know yet. Is it really a playoff team, or is it just like a easy schedule type thing? And then I got there and I started to see, just how some of these practice, and Saquon Barkley, how hard he works. Daniel Jones, how dedicated he was to his job. And, Dayball preaches it all the time, just like having fun and winning, just comes with execution. And like, people aren't going to have fun out there if you're not executing, you're getting your ass whooped on the field, but if you're sitting there and you're executing and you're playing at a high level, then that's when it gets fun. And, the more we started to do that, and I think, it really started ramping up after we won at Washington. And, ever since then it was just like, upfield and upfield. And it was like every game, like, we know, like, we could play in this game and we can win.
Yeah, no, you could feel that. Like, you really could. And you could feel Daniel Jones just getting more and more confident every single time he was out on the field. Now, the thing I noticed, and obviously watching games, but also watching film on him, is that his decisions were quick. And I think a lot of that is because Richie James evolved as a route runner. You obviously are a great, I've said this all ever since I started seeing you with the Giants. You're a great route runner. I don't think you get enough credit for that. But the confidence that Daniel had in getting you guys the ball, I think that was the key. Talk about Daniel Jones, because he in our minds is what we've been talking about all day, is really the key to keeping this train rolling with the New York Giants into next season.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, and it's something that, I saw right when I got into the building. He was literally the first person I met when I came in the building. I was there on the bye week, and like nobody was in the facility but him in the locker room, like just finishing a workout. And he was like, excited to meet you, get to work with you. And I just saw it like week by week, like, in between periods, he's getting the wideouts to throw. He's, working with extra stuff with the O-line. After practice and after meetings, he's, hey, you want to watch more film? Like, the little stuff like that just adds up week by week. Like, he's a quarterback who's, like, in the weight room every day, like, lifting, getting stronger, doing corrective exercises. Like, you just don't see that all the time with, quarterbacks in the NFL. And, like, I just think it just, like, that quick decision-making, as you were saying, and just, like, how confident he was on the field just went to, his preparation, and you could just see it throughout the week.
Yeah, what's he like in the huddle?
Yeah.
He's just like calm and collected, man. But you could just tell, like, he's just like he's like that silent dog, like he's not like gonna sit there and like hype it up and rah and do like all this like talking. But like you just see him like get like a 20-yard scramble and come back winded, and then like call a play, and then the next play he just throws a dime, come back winded, does another scramble, and it's like, dang, like this guy's like dealing, like he's going right now, and it just motivates you because like he just never stops, he just keeps going.
Yeah, no, that's what you love about a leader like that. Is there any scenario you could see the Giants not bringing him back? I know you're not his agent, I know you're not working for Joe Shane, but I've been saying the Giants have to bring him back. You think that's going to happen?
I would hope so, man. Obviously, like you said, I'm not his agent, I'm not the GM or anything, but I know a lot of the players hope so, and a lot of the fans hope so too. I just think, he's continuing just to get so comfortable in this offense and the system, and with Dayball and everybody, and obviously there's business decisions that have to be made, but from a wide receiver standpoint and me playing with him last year, man, I would certainly hope so, man. I love him as a player, I love him as a person, so I'll definitely be excited to keep working with him.
Hey, look, now Isaiah, I know up in Buffalo, a lot of your time was on the practice squad, but you were around Josh Allen, and I know one of the things when Dayball got this job here with the Giants, that was the reference that everybody kept making. Well, just look what Brian Daboll did with Josh Allen. Are you seeing that same kind of progression happening with Daniel Jones?
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the players used to call Daniel Jones baby Josh Allen when we were over there. Like that was kind of like the joke. Like when it was like, I think my rookie year, like, and they were like, hey, like know who's going to be Josh in a couple years, and that elite level is Daniel Jones. Like, and I definitely see it, just the way that he could use his legs, and like I think you saw that more as the season gone on, and like the playoff stretch, and the games before the playoffs, like just how comfortable he was, throwing on the run, and like not afraid to use his legs if the wide receivers weren't open. And I just think that stuff opens up just the whole offense. It makes the defense has to prepare for a whole different element of just Daniel Jones' game and really the offense. So I think you combine that with just his smart decision making, just his preparation, and he's obviously got a great arm, and everybody knows that. So, I think he's got a lot of success coming his way in the future.
That's a pretty good scouting report from a teammate. And we're talking to Isaiah Hodgins of the Giants. He's with us here on Tiki and Tierney. So, The NFL is not like the NBA where, all right, a couple of years ago, Steph and the Warriors, they're going to be in the mix every single year because that's the way it goes. Football's different. It's year to year, things change. So, in addition, I'm sure, to Philly being very good next year, there'll be other teams that emerge. But specific to the Eagles, how do you guys close that talent gap? Specifically, what do you guys need?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Dayball and Joe definitely got a good plan in mind. It's something that, we all obviously trust them as players and stuff. But, I mean, I just think overall just making sure that we improve on the stuff that we're already good at and, clean up the stuff that, we need to get better at. And I think, bringing in a couple more weapons to help Daniel Jones from the receiver standpoint, from skill positions to whatever to, we have some great O-line already there, building around them and continuing to make sure that the O-line's there. I mean, I loved our defense last year. I love watching them. I love, watching Dexter Lawrence and, Adoree and McKinney and all those players and just making sure that, all those players are healthy and building around them. And, I think there's like a solid group of players around here. So I think, you just build in with a couple more pieces, whether that's in the draft or free agency. And, man, this team's going to be scary next year.
All right, listen, most important question as we wrap it up here with Isaiah Hodgins. The best New York Giant running back in history is. Don't get this wrong, buddy. Who is it?
I mean, you know, I gotta say Tiki.
Let's go.
Here it is. That's
Shout
what
it,
I'm talking
baby.
about, Isaiah.
Sing it.
Hey, brother, it was great to chat with you. I can't wait to meet you in person. I know Max is your dude, and Max I've known since he was a baby, so I can't wait to meet you in person. And continued success, bro. I mean, your story was awesome. We championed it every single week as you go out there and made plays for this team and helped them get to where they were and in the postseason. So continued success, and we look forward to watching you next season. So stay healthy and talk to you soon, Isaiah.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you guys again for having me.
Good job, man. Congrats. That is well earned, that contract. As I was introducing him, and we talk about this little Nick Renaissance now, and I mentioned the name Starks and Anthony Mason. You brought up Victor Cruz, of course, with the job. That's the most direct path from relative. What are you, UMass, right?
UMass, and he was undrafted.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
Yeah,
he kept killing the Jets during the summer.
That's right.
And then,
he ultimately killed the Jets in that 99-yard touchdown, right?
Yes, that's true. Corbett wasn't drafted. I know he was drafted, but a different team. I love these stories. They're just, it's just, like I said, it's not always linear. You're not always entitled to the throne. You come out of the womb sporting royalty. These are the things that I can relate to because I can't possibly relate to somebody like Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
How do you relate to that if you're just an average?
Yeah, that was a
like
high
me.
draft pick.
No,
yeah,
can't relate to that world.
You grind.
You relate to the scrapper.
Isaiah's a grinder.
That's why I love Corbett.
Yeah.
My all-time favorite Jets. That's why I love Mattingly. Late round pick. Those players have always been my favorites. He's a good kid.
Yeah,
I'm so happy for him. All right, 877-337-6666.